And we're back. The morning sunlight streaming through my window wakes me up instead of my alarm, and I realize that it must be Sunday. Emmy has kindly deigned to give me weekends off for my morning runs. I don't actually know if I woke up at all yesterday or if I just slept through the entire day. My legs groan in protest as I lever myself out of bed. All this running has really taken it out of me. Still, I can't deny that Emmy wasn't lying to me. It has gotten a little easier. I've been worried that the runs would start to wear on my nerves, but thus far I haven't minded them that much. Well, it's only been a week. Suppose there's plenty of time for me to start dreading the sound of my alarm in the morning. Not that I could ever skip out now. As Emmy said, it's harder to stop a routine when there's another person. Frankly, I don't think I'm equipped to deal with a disappointed Emmy. She'd probably give me those puppy dog eyes and I'd feel terrible about myself. Which reminds me, wasn't I supposed to be somewhere today? Hey, you're coming to my track meet on Sunday, right? What am I talking about? Of course you are. Right? Those puppy dog eyes again? Of course I'm going. I know you're right. Exactly, so don't forget, okay? Ah, crap, Emmy's track meet. I'd better get a move on if I don't want to miss her running, since she's the only reason I'm even considering going. Otherwise, it would defeat the whole purpose of going. And so I soon find myself quite suddenly surrounded by a crowd of people, all turning out to see our track team compete with another school like this one. I'll admit it's almost comforting to know we're not the only school like this. After you see that there can be two schools with a bunch of defective kids. Oh, I like the use of defective there. Well, you stop feeling so defective. You also stop feeling unique, which in most cases would be a bad thing, but in this case, it sure as hell isn't. That's part of Yamaku's appeal, I guess. Learn that you're not unique, hell, learn there's a lot of others who would kill to be saddled with your problem instead of whatever they're dealing with. Some of the kids here aren't here because they're missing a leg or have a heart condition. Some of them might be here because they're as good as dead in 2, maybe 3 years if they're lucky. And that's only if they get the right sort of care. It's a bitter sort of comfort to be able to say, well, at least I got a chance of being alive through college, but there it is. I'm brought out of my rather morbid musings by the appearance of Rin near the entrance of the bleachers. You came. Of course, I said I would, didn't I? And it doesn't necessarily imply that you had to follow through. Lots of people say things they don't mean. Well, I don't. Rin shrugs, seemingly bored with their conversation. She turns on her heels and heads back towards the stands. I owe Emmy money now. Why's that? I didn't think he'd show up. Emmy dead. So I owe her 500 yen. You do bet an awful lot, don't you? Another shrug from my armless companion? I don't think so. We entered the bleachers and Rin nods upwards. Up there. I came out to see if you'd come. For the bet, I presume? Rin leads the way, and soon we've settled down on an almost empty bench. There's an older woman sitting next to Rin, someone's mother, I assume. I assume this scene is going to be rather similar. But then again, like the Hanako's birthday scene in both Lily and Hanako's routes weren't all that identical. They had a few differences. There's an older woman sitting next to Rin, someone's mother, I assume. She's got rather long hair done up in a braid. On seeing Rin, she gives an oddly familiar-seeming grin. Well, this is surprising. I thought you went to get a snack, not a boy. A snack? I wonder why I was down there. The woman laughs again in a way that seems familiar. Where have I seen her before? Well, I suppose you've always been one to go out for one thing and bring back another. But I'm being rude. I haven't introduced myself. I'm Miko Ibarazaki, Emi's mother. Pleased to meet you. Well, that explains it. She's like a taller, older, and better endowed Emmy. Apart from her hair being a darker shade than Emi's, there's really no mistaking the resemblance. Sorry, I'm Hisao Nakai. And really, you don't have to apologize for not introducing yourself, Mrs. Ibarazaki. It's really Rin's job in this situation, isn't it? Another laugh from Emi's mother? I take it you've not known Rin for that long, then. It's best not to expect her to remember something like that. She's got other things to think about, I assume? Rin nods, seemingly pleased by this assessment. She's right. I was thinking about sunsets. You see, it's really up to us to make introductions and the like. For lack of any better response, I nod. Mrs. Ibarazaki leans back a little on her seat and raises an eyebrow. So, how long have you and Rin been dating? My response consists of silence as my brain suddenly lurches into gear, but just before I can utter a hastily babbled explanation, Emmy's mother bursts into laughter again. Ah, you're a blusher, aren't you? I don't know if there's any way to keep my dignity in this situation, so I settle for a mumbled response. Maybe. So this must be a new romance then, mustn't it? Wait, it's not the question. There's not the question that. Another laugh. Up. Hold on just a second. Oh, the music still plays when I'm not on the window. Alrighty. Might have to take a break or two to talk to someone on a chat. I know it's funny to watch you squirm. I'm sorry, forget an old woman and her amusements. Old woman. She sure doesn't look that old to me. Clearly Emmy gets her youthful features from her mother. I suppose I can let it go. How kind of you. It's starting. Yeah, it seems pretty much very similar. I direct my attention to the track where they're preparing for the first sprint. Looks like the 400-meter dash. I scan the runners before finding Emmy. She's smiling with an almost cocky look on her face. The starter raises his pistol. Emmy explodes off the block, disappearing from the starting line in the blur. It's amazing. Even as the other sprinters converge on the lanes closest to the inside of the line, Emmy surges to the front of the pack. By the time she rounds the final turn, some of the other runners have caught up with her. Their efforts come to naught, though, since a final burst of speed from Emmy leaves them at least half a second behind. Mrs. Ibarasaki whoops and shouts, applauding wildly, and generally looking like any other parent cheering on their child. Emmy bounds off the track, looking pleased with herself. Cheer right along with the rest of them. The announcer, sounding suspiciously like Misha, gleefully gives the results. I think she's gotten faster since the last time. That was incredible. Mrs. Ibarasaki grins proudly. Emmy's a heck of a runner. We fall silent as the next event is being prepared. Surprised to see Emmy starting out onto the track again. Wait, didn't she just run? Emmy's mother nods. Yes, but she runs multiple events for the team, especially the sprints. It's a lot of running, but Emmy can handle it. From the look of things, she's right. Emmy doesn't appear to be tired, as if she hadn't run the previous event at all. If not for the sweat visible on her shirt, you'd never know. Which event is this? It's the 200-meter dash. She'll do this one, the 100-meter, and the relay. I see. Once again the pistol sounds, and once again Emmy flies off the block. Thumping sound draws my attention away from the race. It's Rin's foot. Seems completely absorbed in the race. This seems very similar to the other one. To win, Rin's route. Emmy's mother cheers again, and I assume that the race is over. Sprints don't seem to me like they take very long to complete. Your foot. Huh? Your foot was bouncing on the bleachers. Oh. Seem pretty into this stuff, I'm surprised. Rin looks at me quizzically. Why wouldn't I be? No reason, I just thought stuff like sports wouldn't interest you. I suppose you're right. It's not that interesting. But I'm watching Emmy, not the sport. I don't follow. Emmy's the most Emmy when she runs. You don't get to see Emmy at her Emmyest very often. Oh man, I'm getting nostalgic for Rin's route now. But here you can, see? She directs my attention towards the track again where the 100-meter dash is about to start. I watch Emmy closely. She gets onto the starter blocks, her whole body seems to relax, but it's a false relaxation. I can see that she's actually like a coiled spring. As the starter tells everyone to get set, her head snaps up and her eyes narrow slightly. Her mouth curls upwards and what could be a grin could be a growl. When the pistol goes out, it's as if she's been unleashed from a cage, like she was always moving at this blinding speed, but we couldn't see it happening until the starter's pistol dispelled the illusion of motionlessness. It's all over in a few seconds, but in those few seconds I feel like I just witnessed something very personal for Emmy. As soon as she crossed the finish line, the fierce look was replaced by her normal grin. The conquering general returning to his farm. Amazing. She's really amazing. I've never seen anyone move that fast. Well, don't look at me. I'm far too relaxed to run that fast. No, I think Emmy's prowess all came from her father's side. To mention of Emmy's father, Mrs. Ibarasaki looks wistful, almost sad. He got her into running, you know. Yeah, she told me. I'm uncertain as to whether or not it would be rude of me to ask about Emmy's father, but after the look on her face a few days ago, I feel compelled to ask, where is her father now, if I might ask? Emmy's mother hesitates, clearly not willing to answer the question, but at the same time not wishing to appear rude. He isn't around anymore. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring up bad memories. Emmy just seemed a little sad when she mentioned him earlier. That's not surprising, considering. They were very close. I see. Did he die in the car crash? I would assume so. A beeping noise suddenly emanates from Mrs. Ibarazaki's pocket. Reaching into it, she pulls out a cell phone and looks at him. Honestly, text messages? What is he, 16? Oh, nothing. I've got to go meet up with a friend of mine. Will you tell Emmy I'm very proud of her, and then I'll call her later tonight? Of course. I'll admit that I zoned out for a while. I almost didn't notice that the relay is about to begin, but when I look, I can't find Emmy. I thought Emmy would be running the relay. She runs anchor, so she won't be running for a while yet. Ah. Did you see it? Emmy at her Emmyest. Maybe. Maybe this time. The race begins and I cheer Emmy's teammates along as they pass the baton. Finally, I see Emmy sprinting onto the track to take the final handoff. Once again, I'm taken aback by how graceful she looks when she runs. It really is beautiful. A look of determination and fearlessness on her face only adds to the picture. Emmy at her Emmyest, I suppose. Then as she crosses the finish line, I see her stumble slightly. It's only barely, but it's definitely a stumble. Rin inhales sharply and actually looks concerned for a second. Oh, Emmy. Has she hurt herself, do you think? You noticed it too. It must be bad. She frowns as if deciding on the next course of action. Eventually that proves to be too tiresome as she shrugs again. Well, let's go down. Gotta crown the big victor. See if you can find a laurel branch. That's not gonna be easy. Grin shrugs. At least we tried. Well, we didn't really try all that hard. Or at all, but hey, whatever. Emmy is surrounded by her teammates, all of them congratulating her on the run. Rin seems to be waiting for Emmy to notice that she's arrived. I guess she can't exactly wave Emmy over. Ha ha ha. Then again, I'm not sure that Rin would do such a thing even if she had arms. Doesn't seem her style to draw attention to herself or to emote beyond shrugging. Either way, I'm not willing to wait, so I wave to Emmy, who looks up and grins happily at me, us. Hey, you showed up. Guess Rin owes me money, huh? We would have brought you a crown of laurels, but Hisao didn't find one. Hey, neither did you. It wasn't my job to look. When did we assign jobs? When I said, see if you can find a laurel branch. Try to keep up. I shrug, I guess Rin's rubbing off on me. Seems it's my fault after all, Emmy. Emmy laughs at Rin and me. That's okay, I'm sure you'll make it up to me somehow. Sure. Good, so how'd I look? I stopped myself from blurting out beautiful or amazing and settled for substantially safer, very impressive. What's wrong with amazing? Amazing sounds like it would be safe. Emmy seems pleased with this assessment. I don't mention how much more impressive her performance is given her lack of legs. I figure she knows that already. Besides, it seems like it would take away from her efforts somehow. Great to hear. I was worried I looked a little slow on the relay, but I guess I did fine, huh? Actually, I noticed Rin kicks me and keeps me from finishing my sentence. What was that all about? He noticed it at the end. That's no good. Guess the nurse will look at it for me later. There's a carelessness in her voice, as if it isn't a big deal, but I suddenly notice a slight twitch on her face. Like she's trying to hide the fact she's in pain. Suddenly I notice her breathing is a little shallow, too. I guess she really is hurt. She must notice my concern because she skips up to me and gives me a friendly pat on the shoulder. Hey, you look a little worried. I'm fine, really. Just sore from all the running, that's all. And come on, a little pain isn't going to stop me. Oh, no? Emmy grins, and for a moment she looks like she did during her sprints. Fierce and unconquerable. Or to put it another way, really beautiful. Hasn't yet? Well, then I guess I shouldn't worry, huh? Oh, message time. How long have I been recording for? 13 minutes? Alright. Oh, 14, I guess. Damn right, I'm Emmy Ibarazaki. I do not like her last name. Fastest thing on no legs. Had to stop for anything. Impressive. Emmy giggles and then seems to remember something. Oh, before I forget, Rid and I are going to do something next Sunday's post-track meet celebration. You should come along. Normally we'd do it the day after, but since the track meet was on a Sunday, I've got homework in class and all that stuff to take care of. Plus our morning run, of course. Right, of course. Alright, your mom wanted to say she's proud of you. She'll call you later tonight. I thought I saw her in the stands. Glad you made it. Used to be my dad who showed up to my meets, but Mom's done a pretty good job of taking over. She shivers slightly, and I realize she's still all sweaty. A breeze has started to blow, too. I'm not cold at all, and I got my jacket with me, so without a word I throw it around her shoulders. Emmy jumps slightly and then grins at me. Hey, thanks. It's getting a little cold, I guess. You don't look like it. Just as I begin to wonder whether or not giving Emmy my jacket could be taken the wrong way, a boy in a track uniform approaches. Hey, Emmy, you gonna miss the medal ceremony? Oh yeah, thanks. She turns to Rin myself. You don't have to stick around for this part, it takes forever. Besides, you should get cracking on your homework now if you don't want to be up late, Hisao. Morning run tomorrow, don't forget. How could I? Good point, I mean it's spending time with me after all. With this, she waves quickly and dashes off to receive her medals, or whatever they pass off as medals now, these days. Rin and I head away from the track, Rin remaining deep in whatever thought she has for most of the walk back to her dorm. As I see her off, she speaks up. You're probably not getting that coat back, I think. I'm sure I'll get it back eventually. Interesting, take it as it comes, huh? Very Emmy-ish. This odd statement, she turns and heads into the building. Honestly, was that big a deal? Emmy was cold and, unless I'm mistaken, in pain. Giving her a solution to at least one of those problems seems like an obvious reaction. I guess there's a chance I could lose my jacket if Emmy never remembers to return it. I guess Rin has a point. Still, I can't bring myself to muster much worry over the whole thing. After all, it's been getting warmer lately. I don't need the jacket. I think I used to be a little more responsible with my stuff. Emmy-ish, huh? Maybe that's not really a bad thing. You haven't been forgetting to take your medicine, have you? You're catching a little murmur. You should take it easy for a few days. The nurse's words hurt me far more than the exhaustion of the morning run ever could. Take it easy for a few days, I wish I could have kept quiet. But I knew I should have kept quiet. Keep my eyes on the floor, feeling like a complete idiot. Of course I hadn't been remembering to take my medicine. I've been rushing out of my room to get to the track before Emmy. After the track meet a few days ago, I felt inspired. So I've been running warm-up laps in the morning before Emmy shows up. And today, while she and I were running, I felt a little pain in my chest. It was only slight, but it was only for a second, so I mentioned it to the nurse. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I kept running and finished just fine, so really it couldn't have been that bad. Why do I feel like I'm making excuses to the nurse? Whoops. Oh, I thought I skipped something. Moreover, why do I feel I need to justify continuing to run despite the pain? Really, it comes down to my being unwilling to concern Emmy, who seems concerned anyway. I'm not sure how she was able to tell there was anything wrong, but she claims I stumbled a little. She's the one who insisted I tell the nurse, so now I feel bad for worrying her at all. The nurse is shaking his head ruefully while Emmy paces outside the room. Now I know it's different for you to get into a new routine, but if you don't want to find yourself in a lot of trouble, you're going to have to try harder. You can't afford to forget your pills, and you can't push yourself too hard. But if I don't push myself, how will I improve? I don't know where that came from. The nurse seems to have an idea. Now, where have I heard that before? He laughs and pats me on the shoulder. She's rubbing off on you, I guess. The expression changes again. He's back in serious mode. Look, I'm not saying you shouldn't push yourself. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be taking your medicine. Doesn't mean you shouldn't stop if your chest starts to bother you. I prefer not to have any fatalities while I'm on staff here. Bit of a lofty goal, to be sure, but I'm always up for a challenge. Hate to admit it, but I think he's right. I gotta remember to take my medication. Oh, you're right. Sorry to worry you. Who's worried? You're a smart kid, right? I know you can be responsible as out. A situation like yours, you gotta learn to be responsible fast. I know. His expression suddenly becomes devious. I suppose you start to enjoy your runs with Emmy then, huh? Yeah, they've really been helping me. I mean, until today I was feeling a lot more healthy. Until today I was feeling... Okay. Plus, it's really impressive to see Emmy run. Did you see her at the track meet? She was incredible. Nurse nods, grinning all the while. That she was, Hisao. I watched the first couple of races before I had some business to take care of, but she told me all about it. Kind of you to loan her your jacket, by the way. Oh yeah, it wasn't that big a deal. I'd honestly forgotten all about that. I still haven't gotten it back. The nurse gets a smile that makes me feel like he's just made a joke. Not to you, but Emmy certainly appreciated it. I know she appreciates you running with her in the mornings. This one catches me off guard a little. Sure, she mentioned that it's easier to keep to a schedule than an extra person, but I didn't think that I was doing her a favor at all. Whoops. I thought she was doing me the favor of helping me follow the doctor's orders. She tries harder when you're around. If there's someone else running with her, she's going to push herself more. And she tries even harder when you're around because, well, it's you. The heck does that mean? Oh, you'd love to know, wouldn't you? He laughs in the style of evil megalomaniacs. No, seriously, it's because you're her friend. If Rin ran with her, I'm sure she'd do the same. Well, probably. But that's not the point. The point is, you're helping her even if you don't know you are. And she's grateful for that, even if she never says it. What do you mean, even if she never says it? Emmy doesn't talk a lot. Emmy doesn't talk a lot? Is that so? She talks a lot to me. But she and I have known each other long enough that I can read her most of the time. Why do I keep hitting that one instead of the other one? I'll admit I have no idea what he's talking about. Emmy always seems pretty talkative to me, exactly. I see. Nurse suddenly realizes that he's been rambling and stops talking, looking a little embarrassed. Anyway, you don't have to stop your morning exercise. Just walk the track instead of running for a few days, let things calm down. And take your damn medicine. I laugh as I exit the office, bumping straight into Emmy. Oops, sorry about that. You okay? What did the nurse say? Do you need to go to the hospital? Oh gosh, it was my fault, wasn't it? I've been pushing you too hard, haven't I? I'm a horrible person. The words pour out forth like a torrent. She's really agitated. Didn't expect her to be this concerned about me, to be honest. Gotta calm her down, but how the hell do I do that? I do the only thing I can think of. I give her a hug. Emmy tenses up slightly. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just say, nah, I'm fine? Emmy tenses up slightly, so I pat her head in what I hope is a reassuring manner. Hey, settle down. I'm fine, okay? No worries. Was the hug really necessary, though? I can feel Emmy's body relax as I continue to assure her I'm fine. Her arms wrap around me as if she's trying to confirm that I'm not about to fall over dead. I catch a whiff of her hair. Okay. Smells like sweat or how adrenaline should smell. It's the scent of activity. And a hint of strawberries from her shampoo, I suspect. I just need to remember to take my medicine, that's all. Don't worry about it, it's not your fault. You sure? Her voice is muffled, mostly because of the moment her face is pressed into my chest. Yeah, I'm sure I just need to take it a little easy for the next few days. Suddenly occurs to how close the two of us are. It also occurs to me how nice being this close feels. I can feel Amy's heartbeat calming down, and I have to resist the urge to rest my chin on top of her head. Thank goodness. You really had me worried there, Hisao. Amy, you gonna come in here anytime soon? Oh, I'm sorry, was I interrupting? The two of us spring apart as the other just caught on fire. Amy brushes her hair back nervously and laughs. Of course not. I'll see you later, okay? Oh, and Hisao? Take your damn medicine. This last phrase is punctuated by a punch to the shoulder. Yeah, I'll remember. See you later. Nurse smiles again like he's in on some joke I don't know about, and waves to me as I head for my room, feeling a burning in my cheeks. I need a shower. A cold one, if the thoughts running through my head are now any indication. She was really soft. My pills are waiting for me when I make it to my room. I swallowed them without a second thought. I know I didn't think of waiting until after the runs to take them. For some reason I figured it was when I woke up, or not at all. But no, they only need to be taken every 24 hours. The exact time of day doesn't factor into it. My thoughts drift back to the hug in the hallway. It's weird, you'd expect someone to smell foul after a run, but for some reason Emmy smelled right, so that tinge of sweat just seemed to fit her. Why are you being so weird? I really need that shower. Oh, for some reason I was expecting a chapter change, but I guess it hasn't been that long since this chapter started. Strange that it feels so natural for me to go up to the roof these days. I never would have thought I'd done such a thing in my old school. In those days I liked to eat alone. No, that's not quite true. Although I like to sit alone, I also like to watch people. I always figured that was sort of the person I was, but it appears I was wrong. Then again, I also thought I was the sort of person who had a normal heart, so there you have it. I don't know myself that well. Now I'm on the roof so I can have lunch with a couple of people. They're both girls, which is even stranger. Oddly enough, I feel closer to Emmy and Rin than I feel to anyone in my old school. Somehow I get the feeling they'd at least visit me if I wound up in the hospital. Well, didn't your other friends visit you, at least for a while? I focus on the view from the roof, banishing such thoughts in my head. There's a light breeze blowing, and the sun is shining high in the sky. The sky itself is a deep blue, with hardly a cloud in it. It's gotten pleasantly warm, and as I sit down to wait for my friends, I close my eyes and enjoy the feeling of the sun seeping onto my skin. The voices intrude upon the edge of hearing. Seems to have fallen asleep on us, Ren. Maybe he's faking to lull us into a false sense of security. Why would he do that? No idea. Still, you make a good point. We should kick him or something to make sure he's really asleep. What? Emmy looms over me like only a short girl can, peering at me intently. Oh, you're awake. I guess we're gonna have to kick you then. Was that part of your plan? What are you talking about? Emmy shrugs, her twin tails bouncing with emotion. I'm not sure either. You must be pretty tired to fall asleep out here. Although it's pretty comfortable, I suppose. She plops down next to me and begins to eat. Rin sits opposite from the two of us, a move which only makes me more aware of the girl sitting next to me. If I didn't know any better, I'd swear Rin did it on purpose. I concentrate on my food, trying to tune out the majority of the conversation that Rin and Emmy are having. Despite my best efforts, however, I still find myself glancing over at Emmy whenever she speaks. Notice how she purses her lips when she's thinking about something, squinting slightly as if that would improve her thinking ability. Drink break. Not sure why I didn't just take one that last interval. Rin says something that makes Emmy laugh, and I notice perhaps for the first time how she laughs with her whole body rocking back and forth, head thrown back almost like she's about to fall over. I probably look like a creep. Yeah, you've kind of been sounding like one this whole part. It's about this time that I realize Emmy's looking at me, her voice raised slightly, so she's probably just asking me a question. Oh, sorry, I zoned out for a moment. Amy rolls her eyes with a slight quirk of the eyebrows, the only sign that Rin's even paying attention. I said, did you get any career survey in your class too? You know, one of those, what do you want to do after high school things. I don't think so. Maybe we'll get one tomorrow. What are you going to put down? That's a really good question. Do they even do these? I feel like I asked this before, but do they even do these, like, survey things over in North America? Because I never got one. Granted, I never went to class much, but I never got one still. I guess I always figured I'd go to college after high school, but I have no idea what I'd do once I got there. And with the heart attack and all, I've really been concentrating on each day as it came rather than making long-term plans. Yeah, I suppose I can safely start planning ahead again. I've always liked having at least a vague plan for my future, so it'd be nice to come up with one again. Of course, that doesn't change the fact that right now I've got absolutely no clue. I was assumed, I've always kind of assumed I'd figure it out in college, that or just become a salaryman. That's pretty unpopular. But do I really want to? That's a tough question. Because I really don't want to do anything. You don't sound very excited about that one, do you? She says this, and I'm caught up in her laugh again. It's so girlish, high and giggly, like a, well, pardon the cliche, like a babbling brook. Okay, it's been a long time since I've heard that. It bubbles out of her, starting in her belly and working its way up her throat. Can't help but laugh myself, it's infectious. Yeah, I guess I'm pretty unhappy with the salaryman idea. But to be honest, I haven't given much thought to the future recently. I suppose that these days I've been more concerned with living one day at a time. Amy considers this for a moment and grins. It's a pretty good idea, so. I just wrote down pirate. Momentarily stunned, then I start laughing. I stop myself and manage to gasp out a question. You're not actually serious, are you? Amy looks mock offended. Well, I got the legs for it already, so I just kind of figured. Even Rin seems amused by this. Just you wait, I'll be the terror of the high seas. I'll show you all. I've even been working on my pirate voice. Yeah, I can imagine that being threatening. She suddenly sprints up and begins swaggering up and down the rooftop, shouting orders. Dower me hearties, give them a broadside with the long guns. We'll wear their guts for garters. Do you even know what that means? Rin's unexpected interruption stops him in her tracks. Not really. But it's all in delivery. The ringing of the bells prevents her from demonstrating her point further. Emmy dashes off immediately, leaving Rin and myself alone on the roof. Rin stares at me intently for a few moments. Is there something wrong? Rin considers this question closely for a moment. After a lengthy pause, she shakes her head. No. Oh, why the staring then? Rin shakes his head again. Nope, I don't get it. Get what? This staring thing, you two seem to, but I don't. Great, she saw me staring, now she probably thinks I'm a pervert or something. Actually, probably not. This is Rin we're talking about after all. Still, I feel the need to defend myself. I wasn't staring, I was just tired. Rin actually snorts at this, but she doesn't say anything. No, really, I was just distracted is all. Eager to end this conversation, I head back down to class. I'm greeted by the twin specters of Shizune and Misha looking like they mean business. Well, Shizune looks like she means business anyway. Misha looks like she's just about to start laughing at any minute. Up on the roof again, Hee-chan. You know, that's dangerous, don't you? Do all Japanese schools have, like, a way up to the roof? Because my school never did. None of the other ones that I've seen do. That's right. School cannot be held responsible for any injury that comes from being up there, you know. Furthermore, we could report you for breaking the rules. Misha leans in and whispers conspiratorially, but we won't, Hee-chan. You three are too cute together. She straightens up again, laughing at my sudden blush. You're too easy to tease, Hee-chan. Come on. I'm still new here, sort of. Isn't it mean to pick on a newcomer like this? Nope. It's to help you get acclimated with your new surroundings. I see. Well, do you have to be so overzealous about it? Yep. That aside, Hee-chan, we were looking for you this morning, but you weren't in your room. Of course I wasn't. I was out for my morning exercise, or here in class, bright and early. Unlike you. Shizune looks peeved, and a beat later, so does Misha, or she tries to at any rate. That was because of student council business. You should be grateful that we worked so hard for you. Oh, I am. So what did you need me for? Another attempt to rope me into their dirty work, I hope. We had to give you something, but since you weren't around, we dropped it off in your room. Something, like what? Oh, you'll find out when you get back, Ichan. To entering the room ends our conversation. We all head to our seats. It's only after I settled down at my desk that the teacher started talking about something or other that something odd strikes me. What did it mean you two seemed to? Was Emmy staring at something too? For a brief moment, I considered the possibility that Emmy was staring at me the way I was staring at her. Of course, that's ridiculous. Still, I can't deny I wouldn't mind if it were true. But it's best not to think of that. No need to get my hopes up. Come to think of it, when did I start having hopes like that anyway? I shake my head in an attempt to clear it and focus on the lesson. Why is he such a weirdo in this route? Or has he always been a weirdo and I just kind of never noticed it? After class, I make my way to my room. Mucha really piled on the homework today. Before I can open my door, however, I am suddenly interrupted by Kenji, who has just exploded out of his room in a flurry of papers. Hey, we need to talk. These rooftop shenanigans of yours, man. They gotta stop. Huh? You're running around on the rooftop with a limbless wonder. They're women, man. You'll get yourself killed running around like that. I don't follow. Kenji sighs and adjusts his glasses before what could be understood as an attempt at explaining himself patiently. Look, we're friends, so I'm telling you this for your own good. But if I were going to kill someone, I'd do it by throwing them off the roof and making it look like an accident. And if I've thought of it, you can be sure they thought of that too. They're crafty, almost as crafty as I am. I see. Good. Glad we had this chat. Loan me 500 yen. I'm sorry? I need to get a drink, man. I've been inside all day and the tap water's been compromised, as I'm sure you know. So I need to stock up on something canned, got it? But to do that, I need 500 yen. And since I just saved your life with my timely advice, you can at least spare me 500 yen. You know, if it'll make him go away, 500 yen is a bargain. I hand the money over to Kenji, who nods and thanks and dashes off down the hall, but not before he locks the door. What an exhausting person. I'd better go in case he changes his mind. As I close the door, my heel taps against something lying on the floor. It's brightly colored rectangle of paper. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. It's a stupid letter. I finish my homework, getting some dinner, and go to bed. Tomorrow's run. However, the letters naturally come of interest in somebody's properly. Yep. Can I just hold control for this? No, I can't. Apparently, it counts this as not being seen before just because it's on a different route. Well, let's skip through it. We all know what this says. Yeah, I think I've had quite enough of this. Did he even get to the end? Quite enough of this. Crumpled the sheet of paper and tossed it across the room. My aim is off, so the letter rolls under my nightstand instead of going into the wastebasket. That was an apology for abandoning me, except I don't know that I really needed it more at this point. Emmy's probably going to come over and find that letter. The hospital seems like a lifetime ago, and here now I've got things on my mind. Emmy for starters. It wasn't great to be abandoned during my stay, but it's not something I'm worried about anymore. In fact, I hadn't even thought about the hospital and what feels like forever until this letter came in. It's almost annoying I've received it. I've got exams to study for, I have no time for the past. Now, about that homework. Yeah, get hyped for homework. Alrighty, well... Ooh, I wonder how long this part is going to go for. I'm going to keep going because I haven't done a 40-minute one in a while, and I like that number. So what's the plan for today, anyway? Waiting patiently in the hallway of the girls' dormitory just outside of Emmy and Rin's room. Emmy is apparently helping Rin with getting dressed. I suppose that makes perfect sense, as I have no idea how Rin would get dressed otherwise. Picnic. Picnic. That's what I said. Sounds pretty exciting. I know, right? Rin chooses this moment to make an observation. The sky seems threatening today. Actually, I noticed that too on my way over. Despite the sunshine of early morning, the afternoon seems to have taken a turn for the gloomy. There's a heaviness to the air as well that usually heralds a rainstorm. I wonder if I should have brought my umbrella. She's got a point. Emmy, you sure you still want to risk getting caught in the rain? I don't even know why I'm bothering asking. Emmy pops out of Rin's room into the hallway, looking shocked that I even suggest canceling our plans. Of course. What, the threat of rain supposed to stop me? Can't help but grin at her belligerent response. It's almost as if she's daring the rain to come. If Mother Nature were walking down the street, I think Emmy would probably start a fight with her. Or at least challenge her to a race. In fact, Emmy seems almost aggressively cheerful today. Rin wanders out into the hallway, looking your usual self. Well, then are we all ready to go? I'm ready. Rin nods and says a single word. Basket. Beg pardon? The basket in Emmy's room, you should carry it. Emmy claps her hands to her mouth, embarrassed. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot about it, and I say Rin. Emmy darts into her room and emerges with what looks like a very well-stocked picnic basket. She hands it over to me. I know it feels heavy enough to be one, too. Good lord, how much food did she pack? More to the point, where'd she get the money for all this? So, are we set to head out? Yep. Rin gives another nod, and we head out of the dormitory. Can't help but frown when I notice how gray the sky's gotten in the 10 minutes I was inside. Yeah, everything just suddenly got, like, really grayscale. Looks like Gears of War. Still, Emmy does not seem concerned by such petty concerns of the color of the sky. She's simply skipping as we walk. Which reminds me, where are we going? This brings Emmy up short, and she shoots me an embarrassed look. You know, I hadn't really thought of that. Oh, what do you think, Hisao? Well, there's a spot we ate during the festival, but I think it might be nice to leave the campus for a while. However, I'm not sure if there's any good places to do that in town. Just as I'm about to open my mouth, Rin unexpectedly interjects with a suggestion. There's a park in town near the art shop. Great idea, Rin. I totally forgot about that place. Crisis averted. Do you know how to get there, Rin? Rin shrugs. It's pretty likely. Good enough for me. I would prefer knowing for sure, but what the hell. Lead on, Rin. The three of us quickly make our way off campus and take the road into town. This basket's a bit heavy. I hope the park is close by. We pass the art supply store, Rin slowing her pace slightly as we go by. Emmy notices Rin change her pace and stop. You want to go in, Rin? Rin shrugs. Nothing I need. Are you sure? There's the slightest flutter of a smile on Rin's face, replaced quickly with her usual expression. Well, life's uncertain, but on this at least I'm pretty sure. Nice of you to offer. Well, it's not like I'm the one carrying the basket. But I'll bet Hisao wouldn't have minded anyway, right? No, of course not. This is hardly a heavy load. I flex for emphasis. Emmy stifles a snort of laughter by pointing to the park at which we suddenly arrived. Oh, I remember this place. Ran into you here that one time, didn't I, Rin? Rin's eyebrow raises slightly. Maybe. I'm unwilling to say for certain one way or the other. Memory's a tricky thing, you know. Well, that'll be. We made it in one piece after all. The sun's still nowhere to be seen, but neither Emmy or Rin seem to mind. We found a spot to sit on the grass, and I set the basket down gratefully. There's a surprising amount of food prepared. Maybe we were supposed to be joined by some of Emmy's teammates or something. I'm starving. Dig in. She attacks the food as if she's had nothing to eat for years. I'm just reaching for the food myself when I feel the first drop of rain land on the back of my head. Uh-oh. Looks like the weather's not going to cooperate with us after all. Emmy glares at the sky as if that alone would hold the rain back. I very nearly believe she can do it. It's one heck of a glare. It had better cooperate. Hear me, Sky? You stop that raining right this instant. Sky doesn't seem inclined to listen to her, despite the commanding tone she's taken with it. Instead, the rain seems to increase. Rin wrinkles her nose in distaste at this turn of events. Regrettable. What do you mean? Emmy, Rin shrugs. I could paint this if I weren't out here. Shame to miss it, is all. She doesn't seem angry or annoyed about it, just a little disappointed. Emmy laughs in response to Rin's comment. Guess we should have stopped in the art supply store after all, huh? The rain increases a little more, offended that we haven't fled yet. Despite the warm temperature we've been enjoying, the rain is rather cold. I wish I'd brought my umbrella. Hey, we should probably head inside to keep dry. We're already pretty wet, Hisao. Yeah, we can dry off this way and maybe wait out the storm. You don't want to catch a cold or anything, do you? Amy considers this for a moment. I can tell the part of her wants to stay out in the rain just despite the weather. Unfortunately for her, the weather hardly cares about what we do. I suppose you're right. Where could we go? I don't have an answer for her. The area is still pretty new to me. I guess I'm slowly getting used to the school itself. The surrounding town remains a mystery. All I know is the art supply store, and that's only because we just passed it. Fortunately, Emmy soon snaps her fingers in triumph. That's it, there's a tea shop nearby. We could have some tea and try out, no problem. That doesn't sound like a bad idea. Great, you know where it is? Emmy nods, looking fairly confident. Sure do, I think. But it'll be an adventure either way, right? Adventure, huh? Well, I suppose we could use a little adventure. I think as long as we get out of the rain, I'll be happy. Picnic basket is a little lighter now, at least. Lead on. Rin and I follow Emmy as she weaves through the streets with something approaching confidence. Now, left here? There, the Shanghai. Wouldn't this be, like, slippery on her legs? Because, like, they're metal, aren't they? And metal gets kind of slippery in the rain. There, the Shanghai. Emmy beams triumphantly as she points to the tea shop. Seems fairly crowded inside, a symptom of the sudden rain, I'm sure. Welcome, can I end? We're actually going to end here. Good enough place to end it. Alright, thank you for watching, and goodbye.